Last week, I watched a billionaire cry. Not because he lost money, he has more than he could spend in 10 lifetimes. He cried because he couldn't remember the last time he sat down for dinner without checking his phone. Meanwhile, my neighbor Miguel, who drives a beat-up Honda and lives in a one-bedroom apartment, just got back from walking his dog at sunset. And I swear to God, he had this smile that could light up a whole city block. That moment, that's when I realized we've been lied to about what luxury actually means. And what I'm about to share with you is going to completely flip your understanding of what it means to live rich. Stick around, because this isn't just another motivational speech. This is a total reframe. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we talk about living intentionally, building a life that actually feels good, not just looks good on Instagram. So here's the thing. We've been fed this narrative our entire lives that luxury equals expensive. Luxury is the Rolex, the mansion, the private jet, the designer bags. And look, I'm not here to hate on people who have those things. If you've got them and you love them, that's awesome. But what I am here to tell you is that the deepest, most profound forms of luxury, the ones that actually change how you feel when you wake up in the morning, have absolutely nothing to do with your bank account. I've spent the last few years really digging into this question: what makes life feel luxurious? And what I found shocked me. The wealthiest people I know aren't necessarily the happiest. But the people who've mastered these specific types of luxury? They're untouchable. They have something money literally cannot buy. Today, we're going to explore 8 forms of luxury that are completely free or nearly free. And by the end of this video, I promise you'll see your life differently. So let's talk about the first one, time. But not just any time. I'm talking about uninterrupted, unscheduled, do whatever the hell you want time. You know what's wild? I have friends making $500,000 a year who are more time poor than my buddy who's a freelance graphic designer making 50 grand. Why? Because they've traded every single hour for money. Their calendars are color-coded nightmares. Let me tell you a story. I have this friend Jason. Jason works at a tech company, and on paper, he's crushing it. 6-figure salary, stock options, the whole deal. Last year, his daughter had a school play on a Tuesday afternoon. She was playing the lead role, something she'd been practicing for months, and Jason missed it. Not because he didn't care, but because he had a meeting he couldn't miss. You know what happened? The meeting got rescheduled anyway, but his daughter's play, that's gone forever. He told me later, with this look in his eyes, I'd give back half my salary to have seen her face when she took that bow. That's what I'm talking about. Real luxury is waking up on a Wednesday and realizing you have 4 hours with nothing scheduled. You could read, you could walk, you could sit in a coffee shop and just watch people. That spaciousness, that breathing room in your life, that's wealth. I remember reading about this concept in ancient philosophy. The Greeks called it skole, which actually means leisure, but not leisure like we think of it. Not Netflix binging. Leisure as in the freedom to contemplate, to think, to just be. They believed this was the highest form of living. And here's the kicker. Most people spend their entire lives trying to make enough money to buy back their time. They work 80-hour weeks in their 20s and 30s, thinking they'll relax in their 60s. But by then, their bodies are worn out, their relationships are strained, and they've forgotten how to not be productive. The real luxury is designing your life so you have time now, not later, now. Let me tell you a story that really drives this home. I have this friend, Jason. Jason works at a tech company, and on paper, he's crushing it. 6-figure salary, stock options, corner office, the whole deal. Last year, his daughter had a school play on a Tuesday afternoon. She was playing the lead role, Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, something she'd been practicing for months. She'd come home every day so excited, showing him her lines, practicing her songs. And Jason missed it. Not because he didn't care, but because he had a meeting he couldn't miss with some executives from the West Coast. You know what happened? The meeting got rescheduled anyway because one of the executives had a flight delay. But his daughter's play? That's gone forever. She took her bow, looked out into the audience for her dad, and he wasn't there. Jason told me later, sitting in my living room with this look in his eyes I'll never forget. I'd give back half my salary, maybe more, to have seen her face when she took that bow, to have been there for that moment. because I know she'll remember that I wasn't there and I can never get it back. That's what I'm talking about. Real luxury is waking up on a Wednesday and realizing you have 4 hours with nothing scheduled. You could read a book in a coffee shop. You could take a long walk with no destination. You could sit on a park bench and just watch the world go by. That spaciousness, that breathing room in your life, that's wealth. The ancient Greeks had this concept called skole, which we translate as leisure, but it meant something deeper. It wasn't about being lazy or unproductive. It was about having the freedom to think, to contemplate, to be fully human instead of just a productivity machine. And here's the brutal truth. Most people spend their entire lives trying to make enough money to buy back their time. They sacrifice their 20s and 30s working 80-hour weeks, telling themselves they'll relax in their 60s when they retire. But by then, their bodies are worn out, their relationships are damaged, and they've completely forgotten how to exist without being productive. The real luxury is designing your life so you have time now, not someday. Not when you've made enough money, now. Number 2 is silence. And I don't mean just turning off the TV. I mean real, actual, nothing happening silence. No traffic noise, no notifications buzzing, no music in your ears, no people talking. Just pure, complete quiet. When was the last time you experienced that? For most of us, the answer is we can't even remember. We live in the loudest era in human history. There's noise pollution everywhere. Our phones are constantly demanding our attention. We've got podcasts playing while we work out, music while we cook, Netflix while we eat. We've become absolutely terrified of silence because when it's quiet, we have to face our own thoughts, and that's deeply uncomfortable for most people. I started doing this experiment a few months ago. One Sunday a month, I take what I call a silent Sunday. I don't speak to anyone. I don't listen to anything. No music, no podcasts, nothing. I just exist in quiet. And let me tell you about my first one because it was an absolute disaster. I woke up that Sunday morning full of good intentions, made my coffee, sat down on my couch, and within literally 30 minutes, I was already reaching for my phone. The silence felt so heavy, so oppressive, I almost turned on a podcast just to fill the space. By hour 2, I was pacing around my apartment like a caged animal. My mind was racing with thoughts, emails I needed to send, things on my to-do list, worries about the future. It was so uncomfortable, I genuinely almost gave up on the whole thing. But something made me push through. And somewhere around hour 6, something incredible happened. My brain just slowed down. I started noticing things I never notice. The sound of wind outside my window. The way sunlight moved across my floor throughout the day. The actual taste of my coffee instead of just mindlessly gulping it down. It was like someone had turned up the resolution of my life. Everything became clearer, sharper, more vivid. The third luxury is having deep, unrushed conversations with people you actually care about. Not small talk about the weather. Not surface-level conversations about work. I mean real conversations where you lose track of time, where you say things you've never said out loud before, where you feel truly connected to another human being. I have this friend, Sarah, and about once a month, we have this tradition. We block off an entire evening. No phones allowed. No interruptions, no other plans. We cook dinner together, open a bottle of wine, and just talk. Last month, we started around 7 p.m. We talked about her fears about whether she's on the right career path, my complicated relationship with my family, whether we're living the lives we actually want, or just going through motions. When I finally looked at my watch, it was 2:30 in the morning. Almost 8 hours had just vanished, and it felt like 30 minutes. At one point during that conversation, Sarah said something that really hit me. She said, "You know what's crazy? I probably talk to 300 people every week at work. Meetings, emails, calls, all of it. But this is the first real conversation I've had in over a month. The first time I felt actually seen by another person." And when she said that, I realized she was absolutely right. We're drowning in communication but starving for real connection. Number 4. And I know this might not seem like luxury when you're young and healthy, but trust me on this one. A body that works without pain. A body you can trust. A body that lets you move through the world freely. I was at the gym last week and I saw this older guy, probably in his early 70s, doing pull-ups. Not just 1 or 2 to prove he could. I'm talking about clean sets of 10, perfect form, like it was nothing. After he finished, I walked up to him because I was genuinely impressed and curious. His name was Frank, and we ended up talking for almost an hour. Frank told me he used to be a corporate lawyer, spent 40 years sitting at a desk for 10, 12, sometimes 14 hours a day. Never exercised, barely moved his body except to walk from his car to his office. He ate whatever was convenient, fast food, takeout, whatever. By the time he hit 55, his back hurt constantly. He couldn't play on the floor with his grandkids. He couldn't even tie his own shoes without serious pain shooting up his spine. He told me he lived on painkillers and muscle relaxants just to get through the day. Then he had a wake-up call. His doctor told him bluntly, "You're on a path to being in a wheelchair by 65 if you don't change something now." That scared him enough to actually make changes. He said it took 5 years of consistent work, daily stretching, strength training 3 times a week, walking every single morning to undo the damage he'd done to his body. But now, at 73, he feels better than he did at 50. He looked me straight in the eye and said something I'll never forget. "Young man, don't wait until your body sends you a bill you can't pay. The interest rate is absolutely brutal. We take our bodies for granted until they stop working. We assume we'll always be able to move freely, to jump, to run, to dance, but that's not guaranteed. The luxury is investing in your body now, going for walks, stretching, moving in ways that feel good, eating food that nourishes you instead of just whatever's quickest. Because a body that doesn't hurt, that you can trust, that lets you fully engage with life, that's priceless." The fifth luxury is autonomy. The ability to make decisions about your own life without needing to ask anyone's permission. This one's huge because most people don't realize how trapped they are until they try to make a change. Let me tell you about Amanda. 2 years ago, Amanda was a rising star at a prestigious law firm. She had everything that's supposed to matter: a 6-figure salary, an impressive title, a corner office with a view, the respect of her colleagues. On paper, she was absolutely crushing it. But she was completely miserable. She worked 70 to 80 hours every week. She couldn't take a real vacation because she had to stay available for clients. Her phone was basically an electronic leash. Every decision about her time, her energy, her life had to run through her partners at the firm. One random Tuesday, she just quit. Walked into the managing partner's office and resigned, effective immediately. Everyone in her life thought she'd lost her mind. Her parents were horrified. They'd bragged to everyone about their successful lawyer daughter. Her colleagues couldn't understand why she'd walk away from that salary and prestige. Even her friends thought she was making a massive mistake. But here's what Amanda did. She became a freelance legal consultant. Now she makes about half what she used to make, maybe even less, some months. But last month, she decided on a Thursday that she wanted to spend 3 weeks in Portugal, and by Saturday she was on a plane. She works from coffee shops, from parks, from wherever she feels like being. She takes every Friday completely off. She answers to absolutely no one except herself. When we had lunch recently, she told me something that stuck with me. "I make half what I used to, but I have more freedom than my old managing partner who makes millions, and I wouldn't trade that for anything." The sixth luxury is being truly known by someone. Having at least one person in your life who sees the real you, not the filtered Instagram version, not the professional persona you put on at work, but the actual, messy, complicated human you really are. Most of us spend our entire lives wearing masks. We perform different versions of ourselves depending on who we're with. At work, we're professional and put together. On social media, we're living our best lives. With acquaintances, we're always fine when they ask how we're doing. And it's exhausting. It's like being an actor who never gets to leave the stage. Let me share something personal. A few years ago, I went through the darkest period of my life. I was dealing with severe anxiety, questioning everything about my life, feeling completely lost and scared about the future. But on the outside, everything looked totally fine. I kept posting the usual stuff on social media: coffee photos, sunset pictures, inspirational quotes. I smiled at work. When people asked how I was doing, I'd say good or busy, you know how it is, with a little laugh. Nobody knew I was falling apart inside. Except one person, my friend Marcus. Marcus and I have been close since college, and he knows me better than almost anyone. One night, completely out of nowhere, he called me. Not texted, actually called, which nobody does anymore. He said, "Hey man, I know you keep saying everything's fine, but I don't believe you. I can tell something's wrong. What's actually going on?" And something in me just completely broke open. I told him everything. All the messy, scary thoughts I'd been having. All the fears I was too ashamed to say out loud. All the doubt and confusion. And you know what he said? He didn't try to fix me. He didn't give me some motivational speech about staying positive. He just said, "Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds really hard. I'm here." He let me be fully human. Anxious, confused, scared. Without trying to make it better or convince me I shouldn't feel that way. That conversation probably saved my life. I'm not exaggerating. The real luxury is having someone who knows the real you. Someone who's seen you at your worst and didn't leave. Someone you don't have to perform for or impress. I've got maybe 3 people in my entire life who know me that deeply, and I honestly can't put a price on what that's worth. The 7th luxury is proximity to nature. Here's something I've noticed. The wealthiest people on earth, billionaires, celebrities, the ultra-successful, they go to incredible lengths to be near nature. They buy beachfront properties. They build mountain retreats. They vacation in remote forests. Why? Because on some deep, primal level, we all know that nature heals us. But here's the beautiful irony. You don't need to be rich to access nature. You just need to prioritize it. I live in a pretty dense city, and for years I thought nature was something far away that I could only experience on vacation. But then I started actually paying attention, and I realized nature is everywhere if you look for it. I was going through an incredibly stressful period at work about a year ago. Constant deadlines, conflicts with coworkers, everything felt like too much. I was anxious all the time, couldn't sleep, felt wound up like a spring about to break. My therapist suggested I try spending 20 minutes outside every single day. No phone, no podcast, no goal, except to just be present in nature. I was honestly skeptical, but I was desperate enough to try anything. So I started walking to this little park about 10 minutes from my apartment every morning before work. Just 20 minutes, sitting on a bench or walking slowly on the path. The first week, my mind was still racing the whole time, thinking about everything I needed to do, worrying about problems at work. But somewhere around week 2, something shifted. I started actually noticing things. The way morning light comes through trees, the sounds of different birds, the smell of grass after it rains, the feeling of wind on my skin. And slowly, almost without me realizing it was happening, my nervous system started to calm down. And the final luxury, maybe the most important one, is living a life that actually reflects your values. Not society's values, not your parents' values, not what looks impressive on LinkedIn, but what you actually care about deep down. Most people are living lives that were designed by someone else. They went to college because that's what you're supposed to do. They chose a major that seemed practical or impressive. They got a job in a field that sounded good at dinner parties. They bought a house because that's what successful adults do. They're checking boxes, hitting milestones, following a script they never questioned. And then they wake up at 40 or 50 and think, wait, is this what I actually wanted? Or is this just what I thought I was supposed to want? Let me tell you about 2 very different people in my life. First, my Uncle David. Uncle David spent 30 years working as an accountant for a mid-sized firm. He was good at his job, made decent money, provided well for his family. Seemed like a solid, responsible life choice. Last year was his retirement party, and I was talking to him after most people had left. I asked him how he felt about retiring, expecting him to say something about finally being able to relax or pursue hobbies. You know what he actually said? He looked at me with these tired eyes and said, "Honestly, I feel relieved. I never actually liked accounting. I just didn't know what else to do, and it seemed like the safe choice. 30 years doing something I didn't even enjoy because I was too scared to admit I'd made the wrong choice." That hit me like a punch to the gut. 3 decades of his one life, spent doing something his heart was never in. Now contrast that with my friend Chris. Chris was on track to become a doctor. Both his parents were doctors. His older sister was a doctor. Everyone just assumed that's what Chris would do. He got into a great med school, started his first year, and everything looked perfect from the outside, but he was miserable. He hated it. The studying, the culture, the whole path. But the thought of dropping out and disappointing everyone terrified him. Halfway through his second year, he finally couldn't take it anymore. He dropped out. His parents didn't speak to him for 6 months. Family gatherings were awkward for years. People in his hometown called him a quitter, said he'd thrown away an incredible opportunity. But you know what Chris did? He became a carpenter, started apprenticing with a local woodworker, learned the craft, and now he runs a small business building custom furniture. I visited his workshop last month, and I've honestly never seen someone more at peace with their life. He was covered in sawdust, working on this beautiful dining table, completely in flow. He told me, "I make probably a quarter of what I would have made as a doctor. I drive an old truck, I live in a small house, I'll never be rich. But I wake up every single morning genuinely excited about my work. I'm making things with my hands that will last generations. That feeling is worth more to me than any amount of money or status." That's what I mean by living according to your values. Chris values craftsmanship and creative work more than money or prestige. My Uncle David never figured out what he valued until it was too late. The luxury is knowing yourself well enough to design a life around what actually matters to you, even if it looks weird to other people, even if it disappoints someone, even if it means making less money or having less status. So let me bring this all together. We started this video with a billionaire who couldn't enjoy a simple dinner, and my neighbor Miguel with his beat-up Honda and his sunset walks. And I think that contrast tells you everything you need to know about real luxury. It's not in your bank account. It's in how you spend your time. It's in the quality of your relationships. It's in your connection to yourself, to other people, to the natural world. It's in the freedom you've built and the integrity you've maintained. You can have all of these things right now, today, regardless of how much money you make. They don't require wealth. They require intention. They require making choices that might look strange to other people. They require you to stop chasing what you think you're supposed to want and start building what actually makes you feel alive. So here's my challenge. Pick just one thing from this video and commit to it this week. Maybe it's blocking off 3 hours for an uninterrupted conversation with someone you love. Maybe it's finding 10 minutes of complete silence every day. Maybe it's taking a walk in nature without your phone. Maybe it's getting honest with yourself about whether your life reflects your actual values. Just pick one. Start small, but start. Because the luxurious life you are searching for is not waiting somewhere in the future when you've made more money or achieved more success. It's right here, available to you right now. You just have to choose it. If this video resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling me which of these luxuries you're going to prioritize. I read every single comment, and I genuinely love hearing from you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Now go live luxuriously, your way.